Domantas Sabonis showed signs of immense promise in his first season with the Oklahoma City Thunder, but nothing could indicate that he would play as well as he has when thrust into a prominent role for the Pacers this season. The trade to Indiana for Paul George was widely criticised as the Pacers getting absolutely robbed by OKC, and there was even talk that the GM had refused better offers from Boston and other teams just to spite them. But the strong play from Oladipo and Sabonis to start the season has pundits at least questioning if the trade was actually that bad. And whilst Oladipo has shown that he could be the best player on this young Pacers team, this video will focus on the younger player, Domantas Sabonis. It will discuss how well he is playing, why he is doing so well compared to an OKC, his future potential, and discuss whether or not he has the potential to be better than his father, Arvydas Sabonis. The first question we'll look at is why the sudden leap in production and level of play in Indiana compared to his season last year in OKC. In OKC, he only played 20 minutes a game and managed to score only 5.9 points and grab 3.6 rebounds a game. In his first 8 games of this season, Sabonis has scored 13.1 points and pulled in 11.1 rebounds a game in just 27.1 minutes. Now, I must acknowledge that this is a small sample size, but the eye test holds true as well. Sabonis appears to be a lot more comfortable with the Pacers so far and is playing incredibly well, and showing signs that he's adjusted that little bit more to the NBA. Part of this comes from Miles Turner being injured and Sabonis being thrust into the starting lineup at the center position. This allows him to get closer to the basket and abuse bigger centers, who have struggled to contain Sabonis' quick footwork and speed off of the dribble. OKC largely used Sabonis as a distraction with Westbrook, playing him at the 4 next to Steven Adams, and had him stray away from the basket on the 3-point line. Obviously, this is not a knock on OKC's usage of Sabonis, as they were a team that were geared entirely around maximizing the value that Westbrook could produce. But it shows how a situation can completely change how effective a player is and how they are perceived by the league. The Pacers are in a completely different situation to the Thunder, and are embracing their rebuild around Oladipo, Miles Turner, and now Sabonis. There are some other very solid players on the roster in Thaddeus Young and Darren Collison, and I can say with great shame that I did not predict them to be anywhere near this good this season. They have done a fantastic job of getting Sabonis the ball in different areas, the low post, the elbows, off short pick and rolls, and giving him space to attack bigger defenders who struggle to defend his post game. Sabonis has also showed that he has a fantastic shooting touch for a player of his size, and is willing to face up and shoot over defenders who back off of him too much. He can also shoot the 3 at a good clip, and this helps his team really space the floor. With Sabonis at the 5, the Pacers have been playing with 5 3-point shooters, providing maximum spacing and scoring, and allowing Oladipo and Darren Collison to drive, collapse the defense, and kick it out for good looks at 3s. The shooting is definitely one of Sabonis' strengths, but perhaps the best part of his offensive game is his post game. Sabonis has amazing footwork down low, and is comfortable turning over both shoulders. This is the first thing to look for when evaluating any player's post-play. If a player can only make a move on one shoulder, they can only go one way, and the defender can just overload that side and shut down their effectiveness. But when a player can turn on both shoulders, the defender is forced to guard the middle ground and hedge their bets. On top of having the ability to go over both shoulders, Sabonis has a soft touch with both hands, allowing him to execute little half hooks, and fadeaway jumpers if necessary. But it is his speed in the post that has impressed me the most. He makes his moves quickly, and when he throws a fake, the speed with which he pivots for an up and under or a counter move is insane. It is very hard for lumbering centers to keep up with Sabonis on the block or in the paint, and it gives him a great advantage down there. The same speed helps him manage pick and rolls, and can drive to the rim very quickly or fade out to the 3-point line. I mentioned this in my video on Dragon Bender, but big men who are good at rolling to the rim and fading are so valuable to teams, as they add an extra layer of versatility to the offense and make it harder to defend. And Sabonis has shown he is capable of doing very different things out of the pick and roll. He sometimes rolls hard and other times fades right out to the 3-point line, but he's also shown he can drift into the elbow, catch the ball, and take advantage of having a guard on him in one of the best spots for a big man to be on the court. This will be Sabonis' bread and butter on the court in the future. The league has moved to the point where offenses are entirely based around pick and rolls, and if Sabonis can continue to develop this game more and more, he'll be an incredibly efficient threat on the offensive end. He has also shown a few flashes of his passing ability, and working on this should be key for Sabonis, as it will allow him to work through double teams and when the third defender comes to help in pick and rolls. On the defensive end, Sabonis definitely isn't there yet. He has shown signs of being decent and definitely puts the effort in on that end, but a lot of NBA centers struggle at the beginning of their careers, and this is something I am confident he will improve as his career goes on. And he has shown he is a fantastic rebounder as well, as he pulls in 11 rebounds a game and is incredibly strong on the glass with great timing. This is fantastic and helps make up for his slight defensive limitations, as ending the possession is almost as important as preventing a made shot. So we can see that Sabonis has huge potential, but Miles Turner is returning from injury and will most definitely return to starting at center as soon as possible. This means Sabonis will get a few less minutes and will have to play some time at power forward next to Turner. It will be incredibly interesting to see how this affects Sabonis and if he can keep up his great play with the second unit. I think the Pacers will look to throw in the ball in the post a lot more to let him to go to work against weaker centers in opposing teams' bench units, and expect him to play really well in whatever minutes he gets. Going forward, I think we can expect Sabonis to have an absolutely fantastic career. He is rumoured to be a very hard worker, and you can see things in his game this season that he didn't have in his rookie year and must have added over the summer. If he continues to improve, he could become a real force in the NBA, especially if he improves his defensive game. But can he be as good, or even better than his father, Arvydas Sabonis? Arvydas was one of the best centers to ever play the game, and one of the first centers to shoot threes in the NBA. He played the majority of his career in Europe and dominated for the USSR in international play. But injuries had taken a huge toll on his body, and he was a shell of himself when he finally came to Portland. But that shell was still good enough to put up 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists a game for one season, all whilst dominating the paint and being an absolute defensive force. Many players and journalists think Sabonis could have been one of the best centers ever in the NBA if he had played his whole career there. And Bill Simmons discussed him at length in his book of basketball, saying that international Sabonis was one of the best basketball players he had ever seen. Clyde Drexler also said that he was so good that if he spent his whole career with the Blazers, they would have won 4, 5, or even 6 championships, and that Sabonis could do everything on the court: defend, post play, one of the best passes he'd ever seen for a big man, and shoot threes. Domantas has the beginnings of all the skills that his father had. And whilst he isn't as tall, if he can continue to develop, he has a shot at getting to his levels of impact. A remote shot, as Arvydas was so good, but a shot nonetheless. And it would be very fitting, as Arvydas paved the way for the modern, incredibly skilled big man, and now his son is developing into one himself. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more NBA videos in the future. I'm going to be pumping them out over this season and hope to be making 3 videos a week. And let me know what you think of Sabonis and the Pacers in the comments below.